Welcome back to another episode of Just Grow It, the podcast. I'm your host, Big City Gardener, and today we're talking about no-dig. The no-dig garden beds and the no-dig method. I'm going to tell you why I love it, and we're going to go over what you need to get started to set up a new no-dig garden. So what exactly is the no-dig method? Well, it is a way to set up a new garden space that can save you, one, a lot of time and also a lot of strain on your body. If you've ever set up a new in-ground garden bed, then you know the first thing you have to do is to get rid of all of the vegetation that's there. And because I am an organic gardener, I do not recommend that you use Roundup or any kind of grass killer. That means your only option is to go out there and to dig out this grass or vegetation. Now, that takes a lot of time and that also takes a lot of energy. But with this no-dig method, you don't actually have to do that, so it makes setting up new gardens a breeze. So a no-dig method uses the idea of smothering the vegetation and then incorporating new soil that's so rich your plants have no choice but to grow and thrive. If you've ever laid a trash bag on your grass or a bag of mulch or leaves or anything like that, and you've left it on top of your grass or anywhere that's growing any vegetation for an extended period of time, whenever you came back and moved that bag, I'm sure you noticed that the grass was either yellow, dead, or it was just a patch of soil underneath it. Well, that idea is the same thing behind these no-dig beds. Now, all you need to get started with no-dig beds or no-dig gardening is wood chips, great highest quality compost that you can find, and cardboard. Look, for cardboard, you can use the Amazon boxes that I'm sure we all have, or if you're setting up a new project like a big area, then you can actually buy cardboard on a roll. And I didn't know that until probably 5 or 6 years ago. One of my buddies was setting up this pretty big garden, and he introduced me to cardboard on a roll, and I've been sold ever since. All right, now how do we actually set up a new no-dig garden bed? All right, so step one is we locate our area. Once we have our area ready, now we're ready for step two, and that is to lay down our actual cardboard. Okay, you want to cover the entire area, not just where you plan to grow, not just the rows or the plantable area that you plan to grow in, but the entire area and everywhere around it needs to get covered with cardboard. Whenever you're putting down your cardboard pieces, if you're using boxes, make sure to overlap the edges, okay? A couple of inch overlap is what you need. You want to make sure that no light is able to make it down to the grass or the vegetation underneath. All right, so after we have our cardboard laid out, what we need to do next is to mark our plantable area. Where do we actually plan on growing in this new space? If you're going to grow in straight rows, you can mark your area with string. If you're going to add some curvature or some lines, you can use things like extension cords, spray paint. I don't know, man, just a bunch of different options. But you want to make sure that you clearly mark where you plan on growing. Mark your plantable area. Next, we're going to add the compost to the bed space. Now, I'm going to tell you where I do things a little differently. Some people will tell you to come in with just compost and that's all you need. And yes, that will work. But what I like to do is to get probably an inch of just bed mix. And bed mix is usually some of the lower quality soil at soil yards, but it's still decent stuff. Now, I like to make my first 1 inch of the new plantable area. I like to make that the bed mix. And then I come back with either the back of a hammer or a tamper, and then bam, I like to tamp it down a little bit. And now on top of that, I come in with my high quality compost. If you have homemade compost, that's the best stuff. But if not, then you can find mushroom compost. You can use horse manure compost. You use leaf mold. I mean, you just want to make sure that this stuff is rich and full of life. So then we're going to lay down about 6 to 8 inches of this compost. All right. So now once we have our soil in the plantable areas, you should be left with areas that are your pathways or your walkways that, your non-plantable areas. Now, we are not going to leave the cardboard exposed. What you want to do is to get some sort of mulch and lay it down in that area. Now, I recommend wood chips, and that's just because I love wood chips. They take a long time to break down, so they act as a ground cover for a good amount of time. But then, have you ever picked up a wood chip and just seen what looks like white spider webs on the bottom? Well, that's mycelium, that's fungal hyphae, and that's just life, okay? So if I have all of that life in the wood chip area touching on my plantable areas, then I'm just passing life from bed to bed. Now, if you don't have access to wood chips, you could lay down things like leaves, you could lay down straw, you could lay down hay. I mean, you have a few different options. But I will go on record and say that the best no-dig beds that I've ever set up and the best ones that I've actually seen, they have wood chips in the pathway. Now, you want to keep about 2 to 4 inches of mulch or wood chips in your pathway. Now, they should take around 2 years to fully break down. But anytime you start to see the cardboard underneath, or anytime you start to see some soil exposed, you're going to come back in with some more wood chips on top in your plantable area. Now, don't be alarmed if some of the wood chips make their way into your plantable area. That is okay. I know you hear people talk about how wood chips rob your soil of nitrogen. Hey man, we'll talk about that in a different episode. Now, what's extremely important about setting up a new no-dig garden bed is that you make sure you establish a perimeter around your garden bed or your garden area, okay? That's why I tell you to extend the cardboard all around and well past where you plan on planting, okay? We need to set up an area that basically acts like a buffer between where the vegetation is or was and where the edge of our beds are. Now, around the perimeter, we're going to add more wood chips. What eventually happens is the cardboard that is underneath the soil and the cardboard that is underneath all of our wood chips, well, that cardboard should smother all of the plants and the vegetation underneath it, and then it should just decompose into our soil and decompose into our compost. What's great about the cardboard decomposing is that it is also helping to feed and strengthen our soil food web the same way the mulch in the pathways and the mulch around the perimeter of our garden beds is. Now, once we have everything laid out from the cardboard to our plantable area and the mulch around, now you are actually ready to get started planting. And that's right, you can plant directly into this compost. So, what can you expect? Well, you can expect amazing growth from a brand new no-dig bed, but be prepared to revitalize it and add a little bit of, now you can add some more compost, that's what I would recommend, but you can also add any good organic slow release fertilizer after a season or two. Now here are some tips I have for setting up some new no-dig beds. First, add extra cardboard, okay? I don't recommend just going in with one layer of cardboard. As a matter of fact, I've been known to lay down 3 or 4 layers of cardboard. Why do I lay down so much cardboard? Because cardboard is the only thing that is stopping the grass or the vegetation from working its way up into my rich compost-filled beds. Now, the idea here with these no-dig beds is to help minimize the amount of work that we have to do. So by simply spending a little bit more time at the beginning, putting down extra cardboard, well, we can help ourselves in the end and we will have less weeds or less grass to pick out. Now, the next tip is to make sure you overlap your cardboard edges, okay? Don't have your edges meet together. Make sure one piece is always placed on top of the other one. Another thing to keep in mind is to make sure you keep your pathways mulched at all times. All right. If we have any cardboard that becomes exposed, what usually ends up happening is the grass finds its way through. And again, the goal is to minimize the amount of work that we have to do or minimize the amount of maintenance time we have to spend in the garden so we can spend more time focused on growing and just becoming better gardeners. And I love these no-dig beds. Okay. So If you're setting up a new community garden, or better yet, if you're setting up a new garden at your own spot, you should think about trying one of these no-dig beds. Really, as if you have any sort of outdoor space, this is an easy way to get started gardening. You can start a small little garden, a small section, just save a couple of your Amazon boxes and go buy a few bags of high quality compost, and you can start growing your own garden. And once you get your one little section taken care of and you really get into it, you can slowly start to expand the garden bigger and bigger. I love no-dig beds, and I think you should give them a try if you haven't. All right, that's it. That's the end of this episode. What I need you guys to do, I'm not going to ask you to like, subscribe, or follow. This is what I want you to do. I want you guys to please tell one friend to listen to the show. That's it. Just pass it on to somebody else. I'm done for now. I'm going outside to plant some cilantro. You guys take it easy. Have a great day. Until the next time, don't forget to just grow it. Before I let you go, I need you to do more than one thing. First, I need you to like, comment, subscribe to the podcast. Second, I need you to tell a friend or two about the show if you enjoyed it. And if you have anybody you think I need to talk to, I should interview, send the name over, put it in the comments, or send me an email, igrow@BigCityGardener. And check me out, man, on Instagram and on all social media platforms, Big City Gardener. We out. Oh, almost forgot. Just grow it.